keeps giving us that error message. You shouldn't use characters anymore. It's deprecated, blah, blah, blah. But still, the characters option is in their in the dictionary, the Swift dictionary. So I don't know why it keeps coming up with that message. But I went and read it, and it helped me understand some of the code itself. So let's start at the let's start reviewing kind of from this area. Hold on, I'm trying to. There we go. So let's just run through what we typed in, and then we'll talk about how it's working and so on, and what is happening. So this first line right here, I'm going to start on page 285 here. Again, the button tapped is the function that is used when the person hits the letter. So what happens when the person hits the letter? Well, it's going to take the letter name itself and put it into character. Okay, so what is the character that I clicked on? And so that's basically what this is. So you got a consonant name letter string. It basically holds the letter for itself. And then so this first one right here, this letter string is taking the title or the letter you clicked on and put it in the letter screen. And then they're going to take letter, which is another consonant here, letter, equal to the character. So this tells it it's basically a letter is what I'm trying to understand here as far as the dictionary goes. And it's going to take that letter, whatever letter is in this string right here, and I don't know why I keep getting this up here, and then it's going to make sure it's lowercase so that you don't have to deal with having to deal with upper and lowercase letters. So that's what this line does here. So if you read it up here, currently the button tap method disables whichever button a player uses to guess. We already know that. That makes it kind of gray, right? But it doesn't update the game state. Whenever a button is clicked, you should read the button's title and determine if that letter in the word the player is trying to guess. Begin by reading the title that is used in the button in its normal state. Not all buttons have titles, and what they mean by that is some of the buttons on the screen we're not using. So you'll need to add an exclamation mark to tell the Swift compiler that your button does have a title. You will learn more about the exclamation mark in the next unit. You should lowercase the letter because all matches compare everything in lowercase and then convert it from a string to a character. So what they're trying to say here is they're going to convert it from a string to a character. Why do that? I don't know. I think what they're trying to say when we get this error message here is that character, basically you can use a string in the place of the character now. Characters is deprecated. Please use string or substring directly. And so I went over here to the and before I move on, let's look at some more code so that when I move over here you can see some other things. Some other things I want to talk about in this code before we move on to that my other screen here is this one right here. The plus and equal. The plus and equal there is a way of adding. You can append, or basically append means change the string value to an existing string variable with the action. So this is changing the letter here. So just keep in mind I was looking at the plus equal here and what this was meaning here. And so let's jump over to the dictionary so I can explain a little bit more what I'm trying to say here. Hopefully this shows up. Show up. There we go. So in this case, this is the Swift string. You know, most of what's going on in this, of course, this example, this game example, is dealing with letters, right? And so, you know, most of what is going on is, you know, taking a letter, moving it somewhere, comparing that letter to a list of, or a string, or characters in this case. That's why they say characters. So you're comparing that letter to some characters. And so most of what is going on is actually under the string option. And so then I went to the dictionary here, the Swift dictionary, and I was reading through all the different strings, and after reading through all this, it made me understand the code a little bit better, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so you might want to go through as well. This Swift dictionary is online. It's like swift.org. Swift.org is the website. Swift.org. I know this says Apple up here, but oh no, this is the developer one. But I think that they're both the same information as at Swift.org as well. But this is the Apple developer one as well in Swift. You can, I think I have a link to this somewhere. But again, I went to the string section here, and as I was reading through this again to try and understand how they're comparing letters back and forth, it made more sense. So let's read through some of this a little bit, and maybe the code will make a little bit more sense to you of how it's comparing letters. So of course we already know a string is a list of characters. What does the Unicode compliant mean? Basically that means it understands what an A is, what a B is, what a C is, right? Unicode is just the basic alphabetical characters plus the numbers and letters and things like that. So Swift string and character types provide a fast. So again, they're still using character types here in their dictionary. So I don't know why it keeps coming up with the deprecated code, because even their little dictionary for Swift 4.1 still uses character. You see it right there. So I'm still trying to figure out how to remove that. One idea I thought is that instead of using the word character, that we use a string in its place, and then just replace that word character with a new variable that we make. Basically make a new variable that has a name. Let's call it the word or whatever, or the letter, or characters, or the word. It would be a word. And then have that go throughout in place of the word character. And I haven't tried that yet, but I think that's what I'll do to try and get rid of that error message that we have. So just making a string that takes place of character, I think, is the answer to that. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's continue here again. So again, they still talk about strings and compliance. And so we already know what a string is. I'm going to string down. You know what a string is here with the quotes around it. Again, they do make strings that have no values in them in the code. If you've looked at it, like right here under guessed word, right here, let's jump. I'm going to jump back here for real quick. We're going to jump back and forth a lot today between these multiple things. So again, formatted word is the string, but also they have a variable called guessed word, and look, it's empty first. So we're going to go whenever the person clicks the button, it goes into there, right? Or actually, guessed word is the main word. Okay, so let's jump back to here. What I'm trying to say there was that, oh, I guess we can have two windows up at the same time. Does that work? Do you have two different things on the screen at the same time? Oh, look at that. Okay, maybe we'll jump back and forth. Again, this is the dictionary over here. And then, of course, we did a string lesson and lab, and so we kind of know about things like the backslash, right? To end the line and so on. And then multiple quotes. And then this, looking at this, again, we already know some of them, like the R is the carriage return. Horizontal tab, I haven't really used that one yet. And then a single quote mark and so on, and a null. So they have them here, special characters. Initializing an empty string, that's what this is right here. That's where, again, guess word over here. Initializing an empty string right there. And then the other thing you'll notice right here is as we're going through, here's the plus right here. So, or muted, which means it's changing it or updating it. Okay, so you can change it right here. And we have that in our code over here as well. When we're, where is that? What's that? Yeah, it's a struct somewhere. I'm trying to find where we use that. Oh, here. So again, we have a function here, player guessed, and then you're changing the letter itself to the character. And so this is what's doing the, and then of course this one right here is changing how many moves you made. So again here, if you indicate whether a particular string can be modified, by assigning it a variable, in which case it can be modified, or a constant, in which in this case it can't be modified. Of course, we're using variables in there for the for some of it. Again, this is adding to it. If you look there, you got a variable called variable string called horse, and then we add to that by using the plus equal, and then where was the plus equal? Over here. Okay, so here in this one, you're adding the letter to the list, right? You're adding the letter to the guessed word. Okay, and if it's in there, it's going to put it in its spot. If it's not in there, it puts the dash in there, right? So I just wanted to read this and see what that understands that right there. So I was looking at the plus equal. What does that mean? What is that doing? Again, it's adding the value to the letter itself. Or the guessed word, I meant.
It permanently changes it, right?
Yes.
So it'll always be horse and carriage.
Yes. So I wanted to make sure we understood what that means. I was going through all these. This is a lot of information in the string and character section here. Where else was I at? Then the for loop here, which we saw in here, of course, is right here. So this is the one that's cycling through the letters, right? It's cycling through, looking to see which one matches, basically. That's where the for in means, right? So that's what's cycling through the letters. And so here in this option, you can access the individual character values by a string by literally over the string with a for in loop. And so that is what's cycling through. You can see the answer here comes up. It goes through each one. And then we already know what the explanation mark. What can you say? Character print. Again, adding to it right there, and so on. So keep in mind that we can use, and so let's go back. Well, let's just continue where we left off, and then once we're done, we'll revise everything and see how it all works. So we kind of left off where at the yeah, it's recording already. So again, we left off here, right here at page 289. Again, we have the variable letters. For letter in current game formatted characters, append the letter. And so we kind of, this is pretty much updating, and then of course it updates the tree image. This is where we were looping. Again, it has the for loop there, which is testing the game. Let's move on and put in the rest here. And so there's only a little bit left. That's it. There's only like 3 pages. We'll go through and then we'll see if we make it work, and then we'll talk about each of the lines and how they add up. So again, the apple pie is starting to feel like a real game. The round is progressing along with each button pressed, and there's are 2 obvious issues. The first is that the incorrect moves can go below 0, and the second is that player can't win a game even if they guess all the letters correctly. When incorrect moves reaches 0, total losses should be incremented by 1. So of course, if you guess 7 times and you miss it, you need to put a loss in there and then reset the game for a new game, new round. In fact, that's what they call it, new round, of course. And so checks the game state to see whether it can, and total wins and then total losses. Again, we have 2 labels, or 1 label actually that has 2 options. Again, you have 2 losses. So this is all in the same label right here. This is all in the same label right there, right? Oh, not this part. This is all in the same label. Oops. This is all in the same label. Oh, jeez. Deal with this horrible mouse. And so this is all in the same label. So we want to update that. So in this case, they have something called update game state. That's right here. So they're going to create a method called update game state that will perform this work and call it after each button presses instead of calling update UI. So again, they're going to make a new method called update game state, and it's going to go. And let me get up my example here. Make sure I have it right. Hold on 1 second. I don't know. You want me to have 2 screens or 1? Okay. Huh? I'm going to hit 1 so that we don't get confused. So our brains are not in 2 places at once. So we're going to make a new function called update game state, and we're going to add it to our view controller, and then we'll go from there. So again, over here, where is it located in this option? It's under the UI. So at least in the sample that I have, it's under here. Let me move my window around so that we can see. I know, whoosh, nothing fits on my screen here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so the final part, at least for the view controller here, what's going to go here. So again, up here is the update UI. And then there's an update game state right here that's commented out. We haven't really implemented this yet, but we're going to do that right now. So again, every time that they click the button, it updates the game. Right? You need to see the tree go away, right? And you need to add the letter. So we're going to go and add that down here. It's going to be a function. So it's a function update game state, all one word. If I can spell date right. And then, of course, we've got a round brackets and then curly bracket. And so what do we want to do? If the current game incorrect moves is equal to 0, then you add total losses. So right now, if the incorrect moves reaches 0, remember, because it says before in the reading that it can go below 0 now. So the first line in this is going to be, hey, is the first line, and let me get to my code on this thing first. So again, on page 290, if current game incorrect moves remaining is equal to 0, then what do we need? Well, we need to add 1 to the total losses, right? Hey, you lost the game. So type in total losses. And to add that up, we're going to use the plus, equal, and then 1. That adds 1 to the total losses. So, of course, if there's 2 in there, it would put a 3 in there, right? You're just adding a new number in there. Else, and then they have a round bracket here. Else, and then they have else if, and let me make my window bigger here. I know it's tough. I know. You're going to keep giving me error messages here. Else if the current words game.word is equal to current game.formatted word. We're going to add a total win total wins. By adding a 1 to win. So you're matching if the word matches that word. So if the word chosen is equal to the word that is being stored, then add a win to that. That's what's saying. And then we put a round bracket or a curly bracket, and then else, and another curly bracket, and then this one's going to be update game state, which kind of sets it all over again. Update UI, I meant. Oh, I did this wrong, didn't I? Got to put the plus first. There we go. Okay, so that was on page there. So let's read again. The current game word property is equal to the formatted word. Formatted word won't have any underscore if every letter has been successfully guessed. When that happens, increments total wins. If a game has not been won or lost yet, then the player should allow the continue guessing and an interface should be updated. Of course, when the interface updates, the tree would change, and then it's ready to start a new round, or not a new round, but another game state. Build and run your application. Is the game functioning properly? It's really close, but a new round does not begin after a win or loss. Whenever the total wins or total losses changing, a new round can be started, so that it's a great time to add a did set property observed to total wins and total losses. So let's try it. We'll see. Again, I'm going to change this up here from iPhone 8 to the iPad. I'm doing iPad 7. No, 10.5. And of course it doesn't fit on my screen. So again, we have 0 wins, 0 losses. What is the first word? Apple, I think. That didn't work. Didn't go into where it needs to go, did it? And I can't get to a P, can I? Let me rotate. Probably crash. Whoosh. Let me rotate again. No, I still can't get to, now I can't see what's going on. Okay, well let's, there's no way to shrink this, is there? Minimize? Maximize? What do you think, minimize would work? Oh, no, that's definitely not working. Okay, well let me rotate again. No. Okay, rotate again. No. Whoosh. Okay, I can't tell if it's updating or not. Does anybody else's work at all? You guys have a bigger screen than me. It doesn't put the letter in where it needs to go into the bar, does it?
Let's stop after the letter A. If you choose P, L, E, it works. But
Just A didn't work?
yeah.
Okay, on yours. So A is not working on mine either. Because I hit A, but I can't tell. I can't see. Yeah.
Change the word to the test.
Okay, let me change the screen resolution. Let me see if I can see it. Oh, jeez, really? Sorry. There we go. So if you put a P in there, it actually put it in. Mine still doesn't put it in where it needs to go. No L. But yours put a letter down here? Okay. Well, let me quit the simulator and go back. So for some reason it doesn't know what
Run again with start with other letters. P, P, L, E.
okay, let me try run again. It'll probably crash this time. No. Usually after the second time I run it, it'll crash. So you typed a P? No, my P didn't go in there. Oh, I didn't update here. Let's see. I need to adjust this update game state here. I got to get rid of that. I commented that out. Okay, let me try that. That's what's probably doing it. So you need to call the update. Now it's going to crash. You need to call the update game state. Here after you tap the button. That's probably why it's not showing. Okay, I commented this out earlier and I had to put it back in. So there you go. So let's try that again. Oh, wonderful. So you try to P?
Yeah.
Oh, P works.
P and apples go away.
L?
You're happy.
Does A work? Oh, A works.
It's not wrong.
E. E didn't work.
Your apples are still there, though.
And my apples didn't go away. Did anybody's apple go away when they get the wrong one? Your apple went away? Okay. Well, we're close. It's getting close. Okay. Well, let's continue. Let's type in the rest of what the book says, and then we'll try and tweak it to our own. Again, I'm going to try and change the character to a string so that we don't get the character thing. I think I know how to fix that. Okay, so let's go to the So let's finish with the code, and then we'll try and dissect it to make it work. We're close. So we built and run the application. The game functions properly, but of course my trees didn't go away. It's really close, but a new round does not begin after a win or loss. Whenever a total wins or total losses changes, a new round can be started, so that this is a great time to add the dset property observed to total wins and total losses. So basically, it looks like this new round, and I guess we can look up dset in the dictionary here. Didset, the didset. So, where was my webpage at here? Okay, so I know my screen is all now, resolution is, I wish there was a way to get in between. Let me see if I can get in between this tiny view. No. It'd be nice if I didn't have to. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's continue. So again, we're going to enable buttons. So again, we're going to run a variable that tests to see if it's basically testing the wins and losses to see if you're ready to start a new round, I guess is what I'm assuming that means. So it's going to be up top towards where the rest of my variables at, over here where the game is up here. So here where the total wins and total losses are, right here. So instead of using total wins, total losses here, they're going to put an if statement in there. So changing up here where the variable is right here, they're going to make a after this, we're going to set did set, and I couldn't find that in the dictionary with set, and set begins with a capital S. Build and run your application. It's really close, but a new round does not begin after a win or a loss. Whenever total wins or total losses changes, a new round can be started. So this is a great time to add did set property observed to wins and losses. So I guess the did set is testing to see, hey, did a value go into total wins, or did a value go into total losses? If it did, then update a new round. So again, that's on page 290 in the book there. So and so there's something called did set, and I'm assuming that means if it changed the value of total wins or total losses. And then it says you add a new round like that, and then after that you do the variable down here as well. Same thing, but down here. And that would be did set, capital S. And then again, new round. I'm just going to copy this. Do I have an extra one here? That was too many. And that looks better. I need an extra one here. This doesn't look right. There we go. And this should be, no. This one goes with this one. This goes with this one. This one goes. I just don't know why it's not indenting. Do you think I got the brackets right? I think so. You got an error message?
No,
Well, I didn't get an error message. Okay, so we're going to move on. I don't know why it didn't indent. Now try running your application. Verify that both wins and losses are tallying up according to the new round. I don't know, mine wasn't quite working quite right, was it? I would have to change my value. Let me continue. Let's just put the rest in, and then we'll see. So on page 291, it says re-enable buttons and fix crashes. It looks like you're approaching the finish line. You successfully enabled to complete a round of apple pie, but a new round doesn't re-enable the letters buttons. So again, you have to get a new word basically for a new round. Also, you try to start a new round and there's no more words to choose from, the game will crash. The new round logic needs to be a little smarter. If list of words is empty, then you should perform the same work that you did previously, but also re-enable all the buttons. If there's no more words to play with, disable all the buttons so that the player cannot continue playing. So again, I guess you would have to, basically in the new round, it looks like under the new round is where they're adding this. So in the function for the new round, which is down below here, oops, well, there it is, down here. They put an if statement. That first if statement is saying, hey, if there's no more words left, right, the list of words, because it's just pulling a new word each time. If there's no list of words is empty, then do what? So they have an if statement here, if, and of course we need to put an exclamation point in there. List of words is empty. And put a round bracket there. And then we need another curly bracket down there. Then they have an else down here after game state. Else. And then enable letter buttons to false. That tells letter buttons that you can't click again. Can I spell enable letter enable letter button?
Yeah, we will define this function later.
What's that?
We should define enable letter button.
That's true. Yeah, I see that. And that would be here. After guest letters. Enable letter buttons. And then true. No, did I spell it wrong? It doesn't know what enable letter buttons is. So we have to make a function. As you see down below here, they have a function on page 291. The enable letter buttons method is fairly straightforward. It takes a boolean as an argument and uses the parameters to enable or disable the collection of buttons by looping through them. So down below here, my example has it below new round. So is it inside here or outside here? Hold on. So inside here, you'll notice on the bottom of page 291, they make a function. It's called enable letter buttons. And they're doing a boolean to compare. And then a for loop. And hopefully this, if you spelled it right, should then get rid of that error message. So the enable letter buttons method is fairly straightforward. It takes a boolean as an argument and it uses the parameters to enable or disable the collection of buttons by looping through them. If you build and run the application, you should be able to get through all of Apple Pie rounds until the end is reached and the buttons are disabled. Okay, so I don't know, it says I'm done, but I don't think I am. Still have the character option here. And of course my tree never changed when I was trying my first round, right? Let me change my resolution so I can see the entire screen here. So let me change the resolution here. And then so of course the first one is Apple. What am I looking for? P L E. Ooh, I won. Okay, I got a 1. Okay, let me see if I get. I forgot what the second word is, and my tree doesn't go away. Oh no, that's the right word. Oh, H. Oh, we're doing peach. No wonder. How about S? Oh, my tree goes away. O T Q K G. Oh, I got a loss. Okay, let's try peach. P E A C. Uh-oh. Isn't there a peach? Uh-oh. Is there H? Uh-oh.
Maybe it's a pear.
Oh, maybe it's a pear. I thought it was peach. Oh, you're right. Okay. Boy, the strawberries, is that what this one is? Oh, I think it is. Straw. Straw, S-T-R-A-B. E. Y. W. Woohoo! I'm almost out of words. How many? That last word, I don't even know what it is. What did we put in that list?
Durian. Durian.
What is it? D.
Durian.
D. U. R. I. Oh, that just crashed. I didn't like that word. I don't know. That word is kind of weird. Okay, but it was close. At least I was moving along. I think that the simulator crashed. Okay, so I was thinking again about how to get rid of the error message about characters, and it's saying, oh, it's deprecated and blah blah blah. Use a string or substring directly. So I was thinking about how to get rid of characters. Again, let's go over to the dictionary here and read that. What's that? The enable button letters. This one right here. Let me make the screen bigger. So let's look at half the board with this screen here. So again, I was thinking of how to get rid of this character so that we don't have to keep getting this error message, and maybe that's crashing it as well. So again, I went to the dictionary to see if I could figure out how to get rid of characters and just use a string. Basically what they're trying to say here. I know the dictionary still says characters in there, so I don't know why it doesn't say it's deprecated here. And again, this is the latest Swift language 4.1. But it's okay. I was thinking that we would just add a variable and use that in place of the word character. Not characters. Oh yeah, no, characters right here. Characters right there. So making a string in place of that. Because that is... So, did you get it in there? I'm sorry, I moved the screen on you. Did you get enable button letters? It's right there. See if you can type it in. Oh, you want me to move on? Okay, again, if you go to the game state, you'll know they have the word characters over here as well, and the word characters over here as well. So where would we, just basically make a string for the word characters and not use the word characters is what I'm assuming right now. So would we do that here in the struct game state? Is that where we would do it? What do you guys think? Should I put a variable in here and call it the characters? And then make a variable here, call it the characters, and then just place it where the word characters is? I don't know, let's try it. So of course it needs to be a variable, and we're going to call it the characters, like that. And then just like it is above, we'll make it a string. Okay, so we have the characters being a string, and then I was going to think about changing this to the characters. And then do we probably need to give it an initial value, or do we have to put an exclamation point to it? Can we do that here? What do you guys think? No, that's not going to work. So we make the characters a string, but it doesn't like it because it has no value right now. So how can we give it an initial value? Should we put quotes around it? Like it is over here. Right here, see? Oh, here's character. No, that's character. Characters. Okay, well, let's just put it in this place. And it doesn't like it there. And then let's use one place over here in the view controller as well. And it's used here, right? The. And of course, it's going to give me error message there. And it gives me error message here. So it doesn't like that. The new word needs to be a character as well, because that's the word that you chose. So what can we do to make this work? Do we put a value into the characters? Okay, let me read that. Swift string and character types provide a fast, Unicode compliant way to work with text in your code. The syntax for the string creation and manipulation is lightweight and readable with a string literal syntax that is similar to C. String concatenates is a simple and combine two strings with the plus operator. So characters as a string. What do you guys think? How can I give this a value, initial value?
I did it all characters from this part. It works.
Which one?
I did it characters from this words for comparing or for adding. I did it all characters. The word characters, I did it.
And it worked? You don't get an error message?
No, it's worked.
So I don't need to do this. Go back to characters, you're saying. Yeah. I was just trying to figure out how to get rid of that error message saying it's deprecated. Okay. Oh, jeez, I didn't want to do that. It's hard to move this around. Uh-oh. Okay, so at the end of the chapter, they say you can add on to this to make it more exciting. If you'd like to continue working on it, go ahead and try adding some features to the game. Here are some few ideas. You can build most of these your existing knowledge of Swift, but many require you to use Xcode documentation. Good luck. Challenge yourself by adding these features to Apple Pie. Learn about the map method and use it to place a loop that converts the array of characters into an array of strings in the update UI. Maybe that's what they mean by getting rid of the word character. Add a score feature that awards points for each correct guess and additional points for each successful word completed. Allow multiple players to play switching turns after each correct guess. Allow the player to guess the full word using the keyboard instead of guessing one letter at a time using the interface button. Support letters with special characters. For example, the E button would check for E and E with the accent there within a word. I don't know. Let me see if mine still works after I cannibalized it. Apple still was Apple, I guess. So mine still wins. What was it, peach? Or pear, I think. So losses still works. How many losses can I get? Ooh, I almost lost that one. Thank God I knew strawberry. Okay. Did you get yours to work? Again, I get this crash right here. Oh, something wrong with the... Every time I try and quit the simulator, it kind of crashes there, is what I meant. Okay, is there any ideas of how we can make this better? Did anybody make their own art?
You have 2 seconds to guess a question.
Oh, my computer's going to crash here.
You program it so you only have 1 second or 2 seconds.
You want a timer? Hold on, I have to turn this off. This computer's running out of power here. Whoosh. Okay. So you want to put a timer on there, and if they don't guess it in a certain time, then
This one went wrong.
okay. Well, how would you do that? Well, I guess we could look up time, or you want to have a loop. All right, let's get to the dictionary. I went with Swift. Can I search just Swift? Or we just got to Google timer and Swift. How about that? Best way to search. Oh, whose day is it today? International Women's Day. Congratulations, ladies. Okay, so what are we looking for? Timer in Swift. Build a countdown timer with Swift 3.0. Once scheduled on a run loop, the timer fires at a specific interval until it's invalid. How can I use NS timer in Swift? That might be the way to go. How to make an action repeat using timer. Swift countdown timer of 60 seconds. Let's see. variable countdown timer, variable total time equals 60 seconds, or I guess that's seconds. I guess 60 is seconds, right? I guess so. So they have a timer label. So they have a label that's for the timer, right? So that you can see it. And then they have a function called start timer. So you would call that when the person starts a new round, right? So you would start a new round. You would start the timer. So that would go in a new round. What's this countdown timer equals timer dot schedule timer. I don't know where scheduled timer comes from, but I guess we would have to find that. Time intervals equal 1. I guess it's saying you count down 1 at each time. Target self, I don't know, that would be, I guess, the countdown timer. This is timer, variable time label, timer. So that's the label, timer. This is timer, target self. I guess that's timer. Selector, selector, update time. User info, null, repeat, true. Update time. Timer label, text, time formatted, total time. I guess this is changing the label here. If total time is equal to 0, then is not equal to 0, then -1 each time, else end timer. So this is what's testing and changing the timer right there. And then they have a function end timer, which kind of just turns off countdown timer. And they have a string, let seconds equals total seconds, minutes, total hours. And they have a button to press to start the timer. But of course we would put it in there. So that's one idea. That was in Swift 3 though. Let's see, what would another one be? What's NS timer? NS timer. Time intervals, target, selector, update, nil, repeat, false. I got an error saying controller. So what do you think? NS timer? You want to look that up? Was it capital NS? No, there's no timer. Where's the Xcode dictionary? Do you know how to bring that up? Is it under view? I know we've had it up before. I just don't remember what code. There we go. What was it called? NS timer. NS time contains time range. NS time interval since 1970. Whoosh. Returns a Boolean value indicating whether a run loop contains a particular timer. This is in the map kit. Why is this in the map kit here? Maybe that's not the best way. Let me look again. Timer Foundation Apple Developer. Once scheduled to run a loop, a timer fires at a specific interval until it's invalid. A non-repeating timer invalidates itself immediately after it fires. However, a repeating timer, you must invalidate the timer object before you calling it valid. Timers work in conjunction with run loops. Run loops maintain strong references to their timer, so you don't have to maintain your own strong reference to a timer after you have added it to run loop. To use a timer effectively, you should be aware of how run loops operate. See threading programming guide. A timer is not a real-time mechanism. If a timer firing time occurs during a long run loop, callouts while the run loop is in mode isn't monitoring at the time, the timer doesn't fire until the next timer runs. So they're just warning you that if you use a certain timer, you're going to get stuck in a loop. So you won't be able to do something. That's what that's saying there. So let's see some of the things. They have a timer, okay, is a toll-free bridged with its core foundation counterpart, the run loop. Sorry. You specify whether a timer is repeating or non-repeating at creation time. Time tolerance. Scheduling timers in run loop. Do not subclass a timer.
Programming in random words. So the words will come in random order rather than in the same order. Is that one?
Oh, you want to randomly generate words, or randomly select words? How could we randomly select a word? You could scramble the list, move them around. So I would give, that's a good idea maybe. Yeah, I don't know about the timer. I would have to work on that for a little bit here, but I think it's possible. The problem I think you'd run into is if you do a loop that it might get stuck in there and you won't be able to click on something. Sure, we can figure that out though. Okay, so you want to randomly generate what? This right here, list of words? How would you scramble list of words? Because right now they're all in order, right? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, this is a basic array of data. So how could we do that? What's that? Oh, you want me to make it bigger? I'm sorry. I forget that. I love it like this so I can actually see it. I know, it's horrible. There we go. Okay, so here we go. We got variable list of words. Okay, so how can we go back to scrambling those? Basically, each time you do a round, it takes this one, and when you're done with a round, it'll move this. This kind of shifts over to here, and then it takes this, right? So each time this is taking this word and putting it here, and then it takes that and puts it as the guessing word because I think it's this. This is the spot, right? I don't remember, or does it add a new one each time and then go through like this? I don't. I'm trying to figure out how it chooses the actual word list of words. I don't know. Let me look in. An array. Randomly generate the array.